Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. And I'm going to entitle this video, Understanding Isaiah 19, verse 18. Understanding Isaiah 19, verse 18. And I'm not going to do the whole chapter. I did the whole chapter not too long ago on one of my channels, if not this one. But so this is a video that's put up by GMS South Carolina 08, entitled Hebrew Israelites versus Christians. We own you. Vocab Malone. Hashtag Vocab Malone. That God Logic. So they're going back and forth, these Christian apologists going back and forth with different Israelite groups. And the main reason why they're doing it is because that's the only way they can, get real followers. Maybe some of them do. But if they just taught the gospel like a church pastor would, nobody would follow these guys. Jake, men are leaving the Christian church left and right to become anything but a Christian. They know it's played out. Christian church is really open to them silly ass women. Because if you're in a church and you're a woman, you're a silly ass woman. And if you're a man in a Christian church, you're a weak ass man. So anyway, I'm going to let this play. He's having vocab read from Isaiah 19, not the 18 verse, but I'm going to just go into the 18 verse to give you a better understanding. Because let me let it play. Try not to make this long. We do more analyzing than anything, so you ain't going to, really get super long videos, because we're analyzing things in the scriptures. And none of these scholars, you can check these scholars, you can go to the Bible Hub, you can go to scholars, theologians, and so forth. None of them understand these prophecies. Sometimes they get it. Like if you go to Daniel chapter 7 and you read about the first beast, a lion with eagle's wings, stood up, and I'm merely paraphrasing what it says, represented the Assyrians. The symbol of the Assyrians is a lion or the griffin, which is sort of like a half lion, half eagle. It had the body. If you took a lion and an eagle, you put it together, that's a griffin. And the griffin goes back to the Assyrian Empire. So when it said that the lion with the eagle's wings stood on its feet, represents the Babylonians, which are also Assyrians. That's an extension of the Assyrian kingdom. The king of Babylon was an Assyrian. He wasn't a Cushite. Now the seven used to teach that Nebuchadnezzar and his sons, you got Belshazzar, were Cushites because of, when you go back to Genesis 10, it speaks about Nimrod being the king of Babylon. Nimrod was a Cushite, so they figured that, well, they all Cushites. No. He just had control over that empire, which is off the coast of the Euphrates River, because that was that region that they ruled. When the Table of Nations came about, Genesis 10, the origins of that was in the Levant, the Fertile Crescent. So anyway, let me just go ahead and let's just play it. Oh, let me come back to this. Let me say some more on this. Daniel 7. Lion that had the eagle's wings and stood up upon his hind legs. Then it goes into the bear raising itself on one side with 3 teeth in his mouth. Scholars will tell you that the first beast, the lion with the eagle's wings, is all of them. I'm pretty sure all of them would say that it is definitely the Babylonian, Neo-Babylonian Empire. The king, the first king, the main king during that time period was Nebuchadnezzar. Then you had the Medo-Persian Empire. The Medes came in first, and the Persians became a greater power than the Mede power, but they were I'll say the word co-region. You had the king of the Medes, and then you had the king of Persia. And the king of the Medes at that time, when Babylonians were taken down by a surgical strike, it was Darius. He was the king. So scholars will tell you that, those are the Medo-Persian Empire. Go to any scholar, though, worth his salt, as they say, they'll tell you the same thing. Then it speaks about the leopard also having 4 wings. That's talking about the Greeks. Then the beast that was diverse from all the rest was referring. Any scholar will tell you that's the Roman Empire. But then when you go into the 9th verse, the same chapter, it's the Roman Catholic Church, it's Babylon, it's a system. They don't know. That line, that beast diverse from all the rest, was 2,000 years ago the Roman Empire, and the rebirth or the renaissance of the Roman Empire, which is America, NATO, and the EU, and the elite behind them, lurking behind the scenes, coming out of the 3 city-states, D.C., Vatican, and London. 3 unclean spirits like frog come out of the mouth of the dragon, the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. False prophet represents the Roman Catholic Church and the baby churches. The Calvinists are nothing but baby Roman Catholics. Vocab is nothing but a reformed Roman Catholic. There's certain things that they didn't accept. One of them being the Apocrypha. But they'll believe that Joseph Mary never had sex. That comes from Roman tradition. But I'm not going to go all into that. Another thing, if you go to this guy, God Logic's studio, he has a picture of supposed to be Jesus Christ, but it's a likeness of the Shroud of Turin, which when you do research on that, I'm not going to go to it. Don't take my word for it. You go for yourself. Put God Logic, whatever YouTube page he has, when he's in his office, got the Shroud of Turin, a picture, a copy, because it looks like the white Jesus. Now, when you do research on the Shroud of Turin, if I'm saying it right, they'll tell you that many people debunk that whole thing, that's not the Messiah, that it was a fraud. I remember that was a documentary I saw. So this guy, that's a shroud. See, that show you what the Lord looked like. He's a white man. So which makes me believe, or no, because you wouldn't just have any picture up, that this guy God Logic believes the Messiah is a so-called white man. And even Vocab Malone doesn't even believe that. Vocab Malone did say, well, he's not black, neither is he white. He's polka dot red and blue, whatever. He changes up like a neon sign, right? So, anyway, let me let this play. And then I'm going to go into the 18th verse of the same chapter. He's obviously reading, I believe, a couple of verses above that. They'll probably mention it. But so listen up, listen up. It's a waste of time dealing with these Christians. And to prove that they don't know the scriptures, they will never argue. Now, he went into prophecy, but he broke that down completely wrong. He's saying that, man, let me let it play. Let me shut up and let it play.
Stranger on the earth, but only those who are against God. So when the strangers who join themselves to Israel, they are also called people. As a matter of fact, hey, give me
the straight. See, he's making mockery. The Most High gonna delete this nigga, and when he least expect it. You know, they think this is a joke. Let me bring this back. This is why we don't deal with him, man.
Every stranger on the earth, but only those who are against God. So when the strangers who join themselves to Israel,
when you understand and get into the word stranger, and I went through this early today. Stranger, I believe the word was, because you got in the car and you got in the car and you got you got in the car, which is one definition. Let me go to this. I'm sorry. Let me just go to this. Because it's three different definitions for the word stranger. Let me see. Where did I go to earlier? Oh yeah, I went to Isaiah 61:5. So we got to go back to that. Got to. Isaiah 61 and verse 5. We focus heavily on the prophecies of the scripture because the prophecies are coming to pass. Okay, let me just do this. I'm in the AMP. I should have went to the KJV, which is going to take you back. In order to get to the Hebrew, they go back to the KJV. Strangers. The word is Zawar. Zar Yum, or it should be Zawar Yum. What's the word? That's where you get the word stranger, right? Now let's go over here. And I went through this before. Exodus 12, I'm sorry. I believe it's the first time it's mentioned is in the 19th verse, if I'm not mistaken. Give me a second. This is why Bishop Nate goes on. This is why we say Bishop Nate doesn't have 100% truth, because they don't go into the Hebrew or the Greek. To get a full. Okay, so this is even that soul shall be cut off. Congregation of Israel, whether it be a stranger or born in the land. Let's look this one up. 19th verse. Stranger is mentioned here about at least 2 times, maybe 3. Let's see. Let's go find out. So now you read the word stranger in one part of Exodus. Did I say Ezekiel before? Exodus. I meant to say Exodus. Okay, it says whether the stranger be born. The word there is gar, which means an Israelite that's born outside the land. So let's come on back. Let me do this. Let me do it this way. See, if we didn't know if we didn't have a somewhat of a knowledge of the Hebrew and going back to the original script, whether it be in the Hebrew, if it's in the Old Testament, or the Greek, if it's in the New Testament, if you throw that out and you don't deal with that, you don't understand the scriptures. That's why these Christians say, see, it says Gentiles. Well, the Gentiles that receive salvation and blessings are the Israelites only. And we explain who the Gentiles are. See, the scriptures just can't tell you, oh, these Gentiles are in the footnote, the Most High put in the footnote, oh, these Gentiles are actually Israelites. Because you would destroy the Bible. You would outlaw the Bible. Let me do this. This is why, hey, it's just like playing half-court basketball with a fucking caveman. You got a time machine, you got a fucking caveman from the Caucasus, you put him, bring him back, and you play a game of basketball, you don't know what that motherfucker's gonna do. Can you imagine playing basketball with a caveman? In that sense, it's so easy even a caveman can do it. No, a caveman can't play basketball. So here we go. So that's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with Christians. You're playing half-court ball with an actual caveman. He might hit you over the head with a fucking monkey bone or some shit. Okay, so this word stranger, right? Referring to Israelites, born in the land. Yet Israelites born outside the land, right? The Israelites of Alexandria, Egypt, they would be considered strangers that came to Jerusalem for the Passover for 3 times out of the year. And then it would go back to their land. Now, if let's say 25% of them want to stay in Palestine, in the land of Israel, well, you would find out what tribe they're from, and you would give them a plot of land. Okay, here's your plot of land. That's what the small hats did with the Philistines. They took them back because there was civil war. These were Cushites that followed the Lord. That whole another story. 2 Kings 17, whole another story. So they were practicing the laws because they were forced to practice the laws because the Most High was sending lions unto them. And so they kept the tradition. Oh, the woman at the well. She was one of those heathens that was taught that that she was an Israelite. Was the most the Yahushua straightened her ass out. Said, nah, you ain't one of the Israelites. But the small hats during the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, had to be the 80s. He had 3 operations during that time period. He had Operation Moses, Operation Solomon, Operation Joshua, in which these small hats, the Israeli government put them in cargo planes and sent them back to Israel and gave them part of the land if you do the research, I'm not going to do the research for you, they did it under the law of return. When you do research on the law of return, it's also in the scriptures is known as the law of the stranger. Meaning if you have an Israelite that's born outside the land, you have an Israelite who moves with his family and they in Egypt, Alexandria, Egypt. And they have sons and daughters, and their sons and daughters have sons and daughters, and their sons and daughters, grandsons, and then eventually maybe one of the members want to move back to Israel. Well, you got to give them. You can't charge them. Give them a plot of land. What tribe you from? You from the tribe of Issachar? Okay, here's your plot of land. So these people don't understand this. And see, the Bishop Nate, he couldn't tell you this because he would have to be forced. If somebody rolled up and said, wait a minute, it says here, let me read the 19th verse of Exodus 12, verse 19. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses, for whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that, and we're so how can I say this? We're so far away from leaven that I remember years ago, I'll have boxes of fucking leaven, different things with yeast in it, right? This Passover, I don't know if I might have had one thing that I threw out. Maybe even not that. But I remember I used to have boxes of shit. And that leaven is a killer. It turns into sugar. It says, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger, an Israelite born outside of the land, or born in the land. We know that this is talking about Israelites. So you got the word stranger in the 19th verse, and I went to this before. Then you got the word stranger in the 43rd verse, the 48th verse, and the 49th verse. So let's go. Exodus 12 verse 43. Yahweh said unto Moses, how did it go? If I open it up, I can read it. Let me open it up. Waya Amar, and he said, Yahweh. So who said it? Yahweh. And Yahweh said, I'll unto Masha Moses wa Aharon, which is Aaron, Za'ath. Anyway, that's what I wanted. So we're going to look up this word. What verse are we in? We're in the 43rd verse, right? So this is what it says. And Yahweh said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof. Wait a minute. 19th verse, it says, if they're going to partake of the strangers going to partake of the Passover, they can't have any leaven. If they have any leaven in that 7-day period, as the scriptures say, we gonna cut them off. But right here in the 43rd verse, it said the strangers can't eat. So obviously it's talking about two different strangers. So therefore, you have to go into the Hebrew. Now let's go into the Hebrew. Most High put the spirit on these people in blue letter. I believe small hats own this thing. They put this together for us. I don't need the blue letter. The blue letter is for you. So when you say, well, how do you know? Okay, even the blue letter said the Hebrew English Hebrew dictionary. What's his name? Yitzhak Perlman, or Eliezer ben Yehuda, but his actual name was Yitzhak Perlman. Yeah, Perlman sounds really Hebrew to me. So here it is, stranger, spelled the same in the 19th verse as in the 43rd verse, Stranger. What's the word there? The word is Nakar. Nakar, right? Let's go back to the 19th verse. Let's look up the word stranger. The word is gar. Gar. This is talking about an Israelite that's born outside the land. Gar and Nakar, which is another nation. So wait a minute. It says stranger in both verses. Well, you gotta go back to the Hebrew. So now, let's come over here.
Are also called people. As a matter of fact, hey, give me Isaiah. Give me Isaiah.
And then while this man's praying or prophesying, and don't tell me I'm not praying or prophesying. Well, you're testifying of the Messiah, right? What does it say in Revelation 19? I believe you can start at the 9th verse. For the testimony of Yahushua is a spirit of prophecy. So when you're speaking about the Messiah, you're going into prophecy. And you're reading a prophetic book. You're reading the book of Isaiah 19, and you're saying what it means, so you're prophesying with a fucking hat on. Like I said, debating with what you want to call it debate, I call it joke. Debating with Christians is like playing basketball with a caveman. That caveman might kill your ass. He might take a bite out of that fucking ball. You know?
Give me Isaiah where we're talking about Egypt, the Egyptians and the Assyrians. Oh, I love that. Watch this. I bet you did.
Isaiah chapter 19, verse 23.
Yep.
Okay, so I wanted to deal with the 19th verse. So you read a couple of verses down. When it speaks of Egypt, it's talking about the same Egypt in the 18th verse. I mean, I can go on and read down to the 19th verse. I mean the 23rd verse. It's the same. It means the same thing. When it says Egypt in the 23rd verse, Egypt in the 18th verse.
On that day there will be a road from Egypt to Assyria, and the Assyrians will come into Egypt, and the Egyptians into Syria, and the Egyptians will worship with the Assyrians. Hold on, verse 24. On that day, Israel will be the third party to Egypt and Assyria.
So now they're going to use this to say, that in the latter days, which is we in the latter days, we believe we in the latter days, that all of a sudden the Syrians are going to wake up and they're going to call on Yahweh. It should be on the news, right? The Egyptians, first of all, the people in Egypt right now are not, that control Egypt, that govern Egypt, are fucking Arabs. You can go into the history on that. You know, the Arabs came in after after Ptolemaic dynasty. Let me do this. I was looking at this nigga because he little babies dressed in wearing a woman's. He's an insider, you know. Anyway, let me do this. When did the Arabs take control of Egypt? Let's see what comes up. I might have to phrase it differently. Right, here it goes. There it goes. 639 to 646, Arab conquest of Egypt. So who did they push out? They pushed out the remnant of the Ptolemaic dynasty. Let's go here. It said the Arab invasion of Egypt began in 639 AD, led by Amri ibn el-As, whatever. Arab forces of the Rashidun Caliphate crossed into Egypt from Palestine. The Arabs took Palestine, the Palestinians, and conquered the region from the Byzantine Empire. Okay, so the Byzantine Empire had power over that? The conquest has conquered the region from the Byzantine Empire. The conquest was completed by 642. So 42. So that was a couple years, right? 39, 40, 41, 42. Ending a 7-century-long Roman period in Egypt. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Let me cut this. Who had control of Egypt before the Arabs? Oh, so we kicked out the Ptolemaic line, because the Ptolemaic, which are Edomites, which was one of the Ptolemy, which was one of the four wings in Daniel 7. It said before the Arab conquest in 640 CE, current era, Egypt was controlled by the Byzantine Empire. So Jake was controlling Egypt. So you got it. Egypt, people in Egypt, the actual Egyptians, a lot of them are Jake. Eastern, remember, we were scattered all over the place. You know, we like to drop our seed. Oh, when we get in that kingdom, that's all we're gonna be doing is dropping seed. We're gonna be dropping seed in everything that moves that's not married, that's a female, including concubines. Eastern Roman Empire, because remember, the Western Roman Empire fell. Eastern Roman Empire consisted of the West with 2 members of the 4 tetrarchs, right? Constantius was the father of Constantine. You got to go into that history to get the full detail. Though it had been temporarily occupied by the Sasanian Empire. So there was a battle. We were going against the Arab world, right? The Byzantines, which was Jake, remember they were warring against the Moors as well. The Moors was civil ass niggas that embraced the religion of Islam. And what the hell you fools embracing the religion of your conquerors, your enemies? Go to Africa. Africa, the 2 prominent religions in Africa. That's why Nate ain't never gonna wake fucking Africa up. Africans ain't gonna fucking wake up. You run into any what is it? 9.999 at a 1.1 are either Christians or Islamic. So Nate, that's a waste of fucking time. Ain't nothing popping in Africa. That's a title right there. Ain't nothing popping in Africa, Nate. The Byzantines had regained control of Egypt. They were fighting against the Arabs. Arabs had the upper hand. Then Jake started to get the upper hand. This is what that movie, which was a great movie, Robin Hood, what is it, Den of Thieves or whatever with Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman, that was the best Robin Hood movie that they made because they had Moors in the movie and they showed you that the Arabs was against the Moors. History is so vast. It says, but their empire was weakened and exhausted by a prior war with the Sassanians, which allowed the Arabs caliphate to successfully invade and conquer the province. So we were warring with Esau, we were warring with Jacob. We took the Byzantine Empire, we took it from here. We took Esau. We took his, whatever he had. Who had control of Egypt after the actual Egyptians? The Edomites. One of the four wings, Ptolemy, the first. Ptolemy Sada. That's why you got people say, oh, the actual Egyptians are white. No. Well, look at the pictures. That was during the time of the Ptolemaic rulership. They were white people. They were Edomites. So shut the fuck up. The actual Egyptians were pushed south into Sudan, which now it's South Sudan and West Sudan. Esau took part of Sudan. Before you had Sudan. Fucking devil going to pay, man. South Korea, North Korea. Esau came up with that shit. So let me see. Let me come on back. So I'm kind of going into history. You know me. And these Christians don't know all this. If you link the history with the scriptures in the Bible and what time period and who was ruling and what was the guy's name, and they don't know that because they don't study that. Scholars do. Okay, so let me let it go.
Blessing in the midst of the earth, whom the Lord of armies has blessed.
So now these clowns, let me bring it back. Like I said, this is like having a one-on-one half-court basketball with a caveman.
Give me Isaiah. Give me Isaiah where we're talking about Egypt, the Egyptians and the Assyrians. Oh, I love that. Watch this. I bet you do.
Isaiah chapter 19, verse 23.
Yep.
On that day there will be a road from Egypt to Assyria, and the Assyrians will come.
Vocab doesn't know what it's talking about. Logic doesn't know what it's talking about. It's talking about symbolic Egypt. It's talking about America.
Into Egypt, and the Egyptians in Assyria, and the Egyptians will worship with the Assyrians. Hold on, verse 24.
So when did Assyrian people get together with Egyptian people? Which Egyptians are you talking about? Are you talking about the Arabs that rule today? Were you talking about the members of what time period did that happen? If that's happening now, that means that there's Arab Egyptians getting together with Assyrians and they're worshiping Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. Doesn't make sense. These people don't know what the fuck. And then you got the crowd of Christians, they don't know what the fuck's going on. They just hear one person clap and everybody clap. That's why in these TV shows, these sitcoms, you got to put a clap track in it because some of the jokes go over people's head so they don't even know when to clap or actually laugh.
On that day, Israel will be the third party to Egypt and Assyria, a blessing in the midst of the earth, whom the Lord of armies has blessed, saying, blessed is Egypt, my people, and Assyria, the work of my hands, and Israel, my inheritance.
Whoa. You mean to tell me?
Now you see these idiot-ass Christians, which they're not even Christians. They're Antichrist. We're going to have to start calling them Antichrist. They're Antichrist. Whoa, yeah, oh, wow. He didn't break down nothing. Let me bring that back again.
Israel will be the third party to Egypt.
This is why, Christian, I don't want to talk to you unless you want to listen. Unless you have a question in relation to what I'm talking about. But don't come, well, what about, I said, look, take that shit down the street. Take that shit down the street.
And Assyria, a blessing in the midst of the earth, whom the Lord of armies has blessed, saying, blessed is Egypt, my people, and Assyria.
So now the Egyptians are the people of the Most High? Why would you follow a guy like that? He been cool with Israel. He set up Israel, the apple of mine eye. I have chosen thee not because you're the biggest nation, because you're the smallest nation. Deuteronomy 7. What is it? 7 and 7, 7 and 6. He said, but because I love you. But now all of a sudden, he loves the Egyptians and the Assyrians and the Canaanites. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And these idiot-ass fake antichrists around him, when it's, woo! This is why we don't deal with these guys. If I know there's this guy coming, I'm not going to be there. I'll either call the cops on him, close up, go someplace else. I don't want to have nothing to do with vocab. Now, you can say you scared. No. Hey, if a caveman wants to play basketball with me, I'm going to say fucking no. You know, even a caveman can do it. A cracker that look like that, and Neanderthal, however you say it. He comes down there wanting to play. I said, no, I don't want to play basketball with you. The fuck I'm going to play basketball with a fucking caveman. Unbelievable.
The work of my hands.
That's why I'm going to praise Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai when he deletes you motherfuckers.
Israel, my inheritance.
Whoa. You mean to tell me that Yahweh just said that a foreign nation who used to enslave Israel, that he's now calling...
Well, goddamn. I guess Whitey got a chance. You can do all kind of wickedness to the apple of the Most High's eye, to the Israelites, and you get rewarded for it. Hey, brother, y'all brothers, sisters, a few of your sisters out there, I can't wait till Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai delete these people.
Egypt his people? You mean to tell me that the Assyrians...
It's obvious, numbnuts. It's obvious that it's talking about Israelites in Egypt, and that Egypt is talking about America. Remember, the Bible is written in code, because if the Most High wrote it right out and said the Negroes are the Israel, there wouldn't be. We would say, look, you small hats, you're gonna have to pack up, because the scriptures say this: that dark-skinned people with woolly hair that do hip hop, those are the real. If it said that, they would fucking burn all the books. Ungoddamn believable, man.
Who once stood up against Israel are redeemed, and now they're called the work of my hand. The work of his hand.
You dumb, stupid. You deserve to be deleted because you're fucking. And there's a movie called, what's the name of the movie? Idiocracy. I got to get that movie. They took this one average guy and they said he's the smartest Edomite. They say he's the smartest man on the planet Earth, and he was a dummy. The IQ, America should be changed to idiocracy. Matter of fact, let me look up the word idiocracy. Idiocracy, meaning, not accuracy. We do it again. Idiocracy, meaning, I don't want the movie. Give me a second. Idiocracy, a society or group that is controlled by or consists of people of low intelligence. Let me read that again. A society or group that is controlled by or consists of people of low intelligence. Let me read it one more time. A society or group that is controlled by or consists of, controlled by people of low intelligence. Who's above you in this government? Who's above you in this government? What's the highest the highest rank you can have in this government? So America should be changed to idiocracy land. The people in our current idiocracy deserves whatever they will get. What does idiocracy mean? Let's look into it. Christianity is idiot. Hey, you look up idiocracy, Christianity should be right next to it. Oh, beautiful. What does idiocracy mean? Government by idiots. Government by idiots. America is officially the idiocracy land. Idiot land, maybe. What does idiocracy mean? And by the way, idiot means idiot, right? Crassy means rule. Rule by idiots. Or rule by an idiot. Government by idiots. A society governed or populated by idiots. How to use idiocracy in a sentence. Idiocracy can be used to describe a society that is increasingly dominated by foolish or irrational behavior. Potentially leading to a decline in intelligence. The American people their IQs are going down, and societal functions. For example, one could say the movie Idiocracy depicts a future where the world has descended into an idiocracy. Idiocracy. Here's a breakdown of the word usage. I don't got to go into that. So another word for Christianity is idiocracy. Idiocracy. Let me do this. Let me go. Movie. Idiocracy. Or idiocracy. Idiocracy. Movie. Yeah, this is the guy. They said this guy's an average dude. They say he's the smartest man on the planet. We gotta watch this goddamn movie. Let me see. Okay, let me see. I believe he was the president. Let me put in about. I don't know if it's on Netflix. If it is, I'm gonna watch it. Okay, did they give me anything? Okay, so let me just read this. And when you see these Christians in action, think of the movie Idiocracy. In 2005, average in every way, Private Joe Bowles, Luke Wilson, is selected to take part in a secret military experiment to put him in hibernation for a year, along with a woman named Rita Maya Rudolph. Oh yeah, that's that chick. Her mother is Minnie Riperton. She's a comedian on Saturday Night Live. Her father's an Edomite. The slumbering duo is forgotten when the base they are stored on is closed down. I'm not going to read all of this. But when they wake up in this new world, everybody's stupid. So this is the guy, Luke Wilson. They said, "You're the smartest man, I guess, in the world." Gotta watch the movie. You can watch parts of the movie. And you begin to compare it to America. This is idiocracy. Christianity is idiocracy. You got to be an idiot to be a part of Christianity. Let's listen to some more.
So we don't get it confused, it says that Israel is a third in this party. And what does it say?
So that means we got to take the back seat to the Egyptians and the Assyrians. That shit doesn't make no sense. But then the Lord came and he gave the commission in Matthew 10 to don't go to any other nation but go to the Israelites. And as you go, say the kingdom of heaven is for them. These people are stupid. Like I said, arguing with a Christian is like playing basketball with a caveman.
So we got Israel my inheritance, Assyria the work of my hands, and Egypt my people.
And then these idiots, these Christian idiots are, and he's doing the stir thing. Oh, you got a fucking spoon. These are fucking complete fucking idiots, man. When you become a Christian, your fucking intelligence goes down. You know, your intelligence goes down. Or you go in as a fucking idiot. That has nothing to do with actual Egypt and Assyria. It represents Israelites in America. Now I'm going to go to Isaiah. I'm going to read it in 3 different versions. Okay, let me come back over here to Isaiah. I don't want to make this long. Okay, it says, in that day, which is now, shall 5 cities, and it's talking about a number. Sometimes the Most High throws numbers out there, like 7 women shall take hold of 1 man. It doesn't mean exactly 7 women. 5 can represent power, right? 5 cities in the land of Egypt. We know that that's not talking about ancient Egypt in the Middle East or Africa, which is near the Middle East. It's not talking about this. Egyptians ain't waking up praising Yahweh. And where's the Israelites praising the Most High? The small hats ain't doing that. So these dudes got it wrong. That's why Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is going to delete a lot of you jakes, millions of you jakes. You're going to suffer the punishment of the enemies of Israel, because you became an enemy of Israel. Egypt speak the language of Canaan. So what does that mean, Bishop Nathaniel? What in that day? What does it mean by in that day? Did this happen 2,000 years ago? This happened during the medieval period? Is this going to be another 500 years before this happens? Or is this going to happen in our lifetime? It's happening in our lifetime. It's happening now. It says, in that day, 5 cities in the land of Egypt, we know that that's talking about America, Revelation 11 and 8, speak Sodom and Egypt, spiritually Sodom and Egypt, speak the language of Canaan. The language of Canaan, if you put in Canaan language, it will take you right back to the Paleo Hebrew, the ancient Hebrew. And swear, or make an oath to Yahweh. Why does it say they're going to speak the language of the Canaanites? And then after it says, and they're going to swear. So it's obvious they're not going to speak Hebrew, but when they swear, make an oath to the Lord, they're not going to say it in the English. Of hosts or armies, one shall be called the city of destruction. The city of destruction represents Babylon the Great. So now let me read it in NLT. And I'm going to read it in AMP. In that day, five of Egyptian cities will follow the Lord of heaven's armies. They will even begin to speak. When a baby begins to speak, when they say he's speaking or she's speaking, they're just beginning to speak. They might know 5 words. And you calling your relatives, oh my goodness, he can speak 5 words. Right? It said they will even begin to speak, not meaning we're going to speak it fluently, but we're going to understand Hebrew. I've been to Mexico. On the plane, my girl, my fiance, she spoke fluent Spanish, and she was a Gadite. You know what I'm saying? And when I was on the plane, I was brushing up on my Spanish, and I knew the numbers. You couldn't rip me off. The tourists, they rip them off all the time because they don't learn the language, right? So I knew some phrases and words, and but did that make me speak perfect Spanish? No. I was beginning to speak Spanish, but I did speak Spanish. If I have a small conversation, say a few words at you, you say a few words at me, you say something that's over my head, I say un poquito. I just speak a little, no hable en español. I don't speak Spanish. Un poquito, a little bit. Right? It said they will even begin to speak Hebrew. So who's going to begin to speak Hebrew? The one Westers. The land, they will even begin to speak Hebrew. The language of Canaan. Because the Canaanites spoke Hebrew. Because they were in that area. One of these cities will be Heliopolis. We know that it's not talking about this actual city in actual Egypt. The city of the sun. Let's go to the AMP. AMP. In that day, 5 cities in the land of Egypt, Sodom and Egypt, will speak the language of the Hebrew of Canaan. What is the language of the Hebrew of Canaan? Paleo-Hebrew, the ancient Hebrew. Lashwan Kodash. And swear allegiance to Yahweh. So we're going to learn Hebrew, right? We're going to speak Hebrew, but when we call on Yahweh, we're going to say Most High and Christ bless. No. We're going to learn the Hebrew because the Most High put the Spirit on us to learn, to begin to speak Hebrew so we can make an alliance, a swear alliance to Yahweh in the Hebrew. One of them will be called the city of destruction. The city of destruction is America. America is a city. Okay, so now, let me come over here. Isaiah 19:18, depending on translation, says something like ESV, and in that day 5 cities in the land of Egypt shall speak the language of Canaan, which is the Hebrew. 5 cities in the land of Egypt. Egypt is America. And another thing, they said in the 23rd verse of the same chapter, chapter 19, they said the Egyptians and the Assyrians going to get together. Well, when you go to the 19th verse, it's part of the same thought. Start at the 19th verse. Where are the Egyptians over there in Egypt speaking Hebrew? They're not speaking Hebrew, bro. The Assyrians are not speaking Hebrew. They're speaking Arabic and swear allegiance to Yahweh of hosts. They're calling on Allah. They're not calling on Yahweh. one of them will be called the city of destruction. The one of them that will be called the city of destruction is Babylon the Great. So we got to be delivered out of here. So 5 cities in the land of Egypt is talking about a certain number of cities here in America. Should I read this? Y'all can read this, man. Breaking down Isaiah 19:18. In that day, a phrase often used in prophetic texts to refer to a future time when the Most High intervenes decisively, whether in judgment or redemption. I'll read again. A phrase often used in prophetic mean to say before text to refer to a future time. We're in that future time. We're in the future, you can say. Back to the future. 5 cities in Egypt will speak the language of Canaan. This likely means Egyptians will worship the God. Ain't no Egyptians worshiping Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. And adopt Hebrew or its religious terms. And you have Roman Catholic priests that will say, "In nome di Padre, Filii, Spiritu Sancti." I sound like a priest. That don't mean he speaks fluent Latin. Right? He may speak some Latin. It says, in some form, speak in some form. If I can speak 25 words in Hebrew, I'm speaking Hebrew. Speaking the language of Canaan, which is Hebrew, implies a spiritual transformation, a turning toward Yahweh. Nate, give me, I want you guys, I'm going to give you a assignment, logic, and vocab. Where in Egypt do you have Egyptians, which are actually Arabs, because the actual Egyptians are not in the land. They're in South and North Sudan. The real tall ones, the black ones, the Manute Bowls. Manute Bowl is a direct descendant of the ancient Egyptians. So give me an example of Arabs learning Hebrew and calling on the name Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Like I said, you don't got to deal with them. Call the cops on them, or just leave. And if they want to say you're scared, that's okay. Like I would deal with them if they were intelligent. They're not intelligent, man. They don't know them scriptures. And since this guy, God Logic knows the prophetic scriptures, ask him anything concerning Daniel chapter 8, when it says the king of Greca. What does that mean? What does the little horn represent? What does it mean that he shall be taken without hands? That's like almost at the last verse, or the very last verse in Daniel 8. And he shall come up against the prince of princes, and he shall be taken out without hands. I'm merely paraphrasing. Ask him, what does that mean? I guarantee you he don't know. Guarantee you he don't know. A turning toward that says Yahweh, which is Yahweh. Ain't no Egyptian Arabs living in Egypt, controlling Egypt, speaking Hebrew and calling on the name Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And swear allegiance to Yahweh. Who's swearing allegiance to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai? We are. And we're swearing allegiance to him in the Hebrew. Egyptians will pledge loyalty to the God of Israel. That's not happening. Showing a clear break from their pagan past. So vocab doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, and God Logic doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Forgive me for cursing. I repented of that. One will be called the city of destruction, meaning what? It's talking about Babylon. Like I said, this book has to be written in code. That's why you scholars can't get it. This part varies by translation. City of destruction, based on the Hebrew manuscript, may reflect a reunification of former. No, it means destruction. City of the sun, as in Dead Sea Scrolls and the Septuagint, LXX represents the Septuagint. The scriptures, the Hebrew, the Old Testament, written in Greek for Greek-speaking Israelites. Remember, you had Greek-speaking Israelites that knew that they were Israelites, but they were speaking Greek. That's before Antiochus Hellenized them. So you had Israelites that were already Hellenized, but they knew that they were Israelites. Referred to Heliopolis, a real Egyptian city known for sun worship. In America, you worship the sun, right? Which is now turning to worship Yahweh. Theological and symbolic implications. God's mercy is, I'll read it verbatim, God's mercy is not limited to Israel. Going off. See, the Lord really came for all. He really, honestly, he didn't give a shit about the Israelites. He really loved these other nations. It says, even Egypt, a former enemy and symbol of oppression, can become part of his people. Like I said, this is why it's a waste of time having sit-downs and debate. What all this blitzing that Nate did, IUIC did, for nothing. Did they get one person come out of any of them churches? Not one. Now you can say, no, we did get one. If you got one, you would have him testifying. Yes, I was a part of this, the Southern Baptist Church of the Latter-day Canaanite Saints, and I realized I'm an Israelite. And not one of them left. Not one. Not a one. So guess what? The Most High didn't come to Nate, Bishop Nate, and say, look, I want you to go to these churches. He didn't do that. Now, I'll give you credit. You went to the churches, and they were warned, but you didn't have the whole truth for them. You pretty much a church. It says a prophetic vision of unity. Later verses Isaiah. Right. Later verses Isaiah 19, 23 to 25. So you start from the 19th verse, you read on down into the 23rd, 24th, 25th verse, depict Egypt, Assyria. 19th verse just says Egypt, and Israel united, and Israel united in worship. Wait a minute. So we the Israelites, right? The one Westers, we cool. The camps, you got some Egyptians, got a couple of Syrians. No, it's not talking about that. Foreshadowing the idea of salvation for all nations. See how they threw that shit in there? Salvation is not for all nations. Salvation is only for the Israelites. And not even all the Israelites, the elect. Spiritual transformation, a nation famous for idolatry begins to follow the God of Israel. A picture of radical change and redemption. Showed you that they don't freaking know. Anyway, with that I'm going to say, shalom. On to the next. Shalom.